My sister Mary was always a troublemaker years ago. She ran away with my husband Todd, leaving behind her son Matt, who only had 6 months to live. Due to a serious illness, I haven't seen Mary or Todd for 15 years. Until now, they stood right in front of me, and seeing them brought back so many painful memories. Todd laughed as Mary talked about Matt. Like everything was fine, their attitude made me sick. Just as I was about to confront them, I heard Matt's voice behind me. "Mum, it's time to go." I turned and saw him grown up, and confident in a suit. Mary and Todd's expressions changed when they recognised him. "I'm Gemma, 40 years old, and I work in an office. I raised Matt, my nephew, after Mary abandoned him. I've cared for him for 15 years, and he's turned into a wonderful young man. I'm proud to call my son. It all started when I came home one evening to find little Matt waiting for me, with a note Mary had written that she was leaving with Todd on the table. Were divorce papers. I tried calling them both, but they didn't answer. I was devastated to realise my husband had run off with my sister, leaving me, and Matt behind. Matt asked, "Where did Mommy go?" I hugged him tightly. Heartbroken for the innocent boy, Mary had always worked hard as a single mum after her own divorce. But when Matt was 5, she came to my house exhausted, and in tears she told me he was seriously ill and might not live more than 6 months. She couldn't care for him anymore. I offered to help. "I'll take care of Matt for a while." I said. Mary seemed relieved, and soon Matt and I grew very close. At first, Mary would come back to visit, but over time she stayed away longer and longer. Eventually, Matt was with me every weekend. I began to worry about Mary's absence when I asked her why she stayed out so late. She brushed it off, saying she was just relaxing, but I knew something was wrong. Her behaviour seemed irresponsible, and I couldn't understand how she could leave Matt so easily. Mary started to leave Matt with me more and more often, coming back late when I confronted her about it. She brushed me off. "Gemma, I have my own life to live," she said coldly. I could tell she was hiding something, but she dismissed my concerns over time. I realised she wasn't going to change, no matter what I said. Eventually, I found out Mary was dating different men and leaving Matt with me without even letting me know. Sometimes she would drop him off at my door without a word. I felt betrayed when I asked him if he knew where his mum went. He said no, Mum doesn't like to talk about it. Then one day, Mary left without saying anything at all. She abandoned Matt with me, and I never saw her again until today. I was left alone to care for Matt while she disappeared with Todd. I was furious and hurt, but I couldn't let Matt see that he looked so scared. Kneeling down to meet his eyes, I said gently, "Matt, your mum might not be coming back for a while." "Why not?" he asked, his voice trembling. I struggled to find the right words. "Your mum had to go far away." "But you have me. I'll always be here for you." "Okay." Matt hesitated, then nodded with a small, uncertain smile. From that moment, it was just me and Matt. He was fragile, easily getting tired. Even from light activities, Mary had told me he was receiving treatment. But it didn't seem like he'd been cared for properly, worried about his health. I took him to the hospital for a checkup. That's when I learned the truth about his condition, reflecting on his past. I remembered how Mary had only fed him things like jelly and bananas when I asked if that was enough. She'd snapped, "It's all he eats, so don't give him anything else." The doctors explained that Matt's diet was severely lacking in nutrition from that point on. I began learning about proper nutrition to help Matt get stronger every morning. I made nourishing soups filled with vegetables to ensure he got the nutrients he needed. At first it was hard for him to eat much, but over time he got better at finishing his meals. "Good job, Matt. You're eating more than before." "Thank you, I'm trying my best," he said, with a shy smile as he grew stronger. His confidence returned, and so did his bright spirit. I started taking him out for light exercise always. Consulting the doctors to make sure it was safe, I just wanted him to have a chance at a long, healthy life. Matt's smile grew wider, and he began to enjoy himself more. Each night, I tucked him into bed and listened as he excitedly told me about his day. Today I played catch and threw the ball farther than before. That's amazing. Matt, you're getting stronger every day, I said, proud of him. It's all thanks to you, Aunt Gemma. He replied, his gratitude filling my heart with warmth, though I never showed it. I often fought back tears of joy watching Matt grow healthier. Day by day was my greatest reward. I dedicated myself to keeping him safe and happy, and as the years passed, I cherished every moment. 15 years flew by life. With Matt had changed me completely. I never remarried after Todd left with Mary, but Matt gave my life purpose sometimes. I wondered how Mary and Todd were doing, but I had no real desire to see them. It was just idle curiosity about the people they had become one day. That curiosity was unexpectedly satisfied while I was out shopping. I heard a voice. "Hey, are you Gemma?" I turned around and saw her, an older but unmistakable Mary. "It's really you," I said, my voice stiff with shock. "Gemma, long time no see," Mary greeted me with a cheerful smile, acting as if nothing had happened. A chill ran down my spine as memories of 15 years ago flooded back. Just then, a man walked up to her. It was Todd. "Hey, what's going on?" "Wait, is that Gemma?" he said, grinning. "Wow, Gemma, you've aged quite a bit, haven't you?" I clenched my teeth, anger boiling inside me. How could they stand there smiling like everything was fine? Todd had left me, and Mary had abandoned her own son Matt, and I had silently agreed never to discuss it. But we both knew the truth. Now, here they were, acting as if nothing had happened. "What do you think you're doing?" I demanded, letting my anger show. Mary laughed, brushing it off. "Oh, come on, Gemma, aren't you glad you got to spend time with Matt?" I was speechless at her audacity, seeing my disgust. She just smirked. "Don't be so mad, let bygones be bygones." I struggled to stay composed. These two had no remorse for what they'd done. "And that Brad of yours, how's he doing?" Mary asked casually, while Todd laughed beside her. "Don't listen to her. I thought Matt's not some dying kid anymore." Todd's grin widened. "Still, single." "Gemma, did you miss your chance? Mary and I are still madly in love." I didn't respond, refusing to give them the satisfaction of seeing me upset. "Are you still bitter about being left? You can't even ask for alimony or child support?" "Can you?" Mary added smugly. I felt a strange sense of satisfaction in keeping calm. They weren't going to get a reaction from me. "Well," Mary continued, "Matt may have been a failed experiment, but our daughter is perfectly healthy." That word daughter caught my attention. I turned to Todd. "You have a daughter. She just turned 14. He replied proudly. "She's the cutest thing ever." But Mary's face had changed her earlier. Confidence was gone. "I sensed there was more to this story. So you got pregnant after you left, huh?" I asked, watching Mary's expression. Hardened further, she looked uncomfortable, and Todd quickly jumped in. "Of course she's mine. She was born a year after we started living together." Mary flinched at his words, her nervous expression betraying her something wasn't adding up. I kept my distance as Todd stepped closer, trying to assert his confidence. "Well, that's questionable, Todd." I said, "Mary was meeting all kinds of people while leaving Matt with me." Todd's expression shifted from smile to shocked as the truth began to sink in. I continued recalling what I'd learned when I hired a detective to investigate them after they ran off. Mary had been seeing other men, not just on weekends, but even during the week, while I took care of Matt. She'd been going out, having fun, and letting others pay for her expenses, all while pretending to be a devoted mother. "No way," Todd muttered, his face pale. "We spent weekends together. How could she have had time to meet other men during the weekdays? Todd, while you were at work, she was out enjoying herself." I explained. Todd looked at Mary, stunned. "You told me you were exhausted from working for Matt's sake." Mary stayed silent, avoiding his gaze. Todd's voice grew more strained. "Then, why did you marry me? Was I just convenient?" Mary didn't answer clearly, hoping the conversation would end. "Let me guess," I added calmly. "Todd was the most financially stable out of all the men, wasn't he?" Mary's eyes widened in panic, and she shouted, "Stop it!" Todd stared at her anger and disbelief written all over his face. "Is that true? Was I just your ATM?" Mary's face turned red with embarrassment, and she didn't respond. "I even have recordings. I said of conversations with your friends where you called Todd your ATM." Mary froze, realizing the depth of her secrets that I had uncovered. Todd looked devastated, his voice trembling. "So our daughter might not even be mine." "That's ridiculous." Mary grabbed Todd's arm, desperate to convince him she's yours. Todd didn't look convinced, and I stayed calm. "You can easily find out with a DNA test," I suggested. Mary's face went pale, her confidence crumbling. "No, there's no need for that. She's Todd's daughter," she insisted, but it didn't matter to me. Mary's protests were meaningless, and Todd's trust in her was shattered. I was here for one reason, to stand up for Matt after how cruelly they had treated him. "Whatever you two decide to do is your business," I said firmly. "But remember, I raised Matt with love and care, and that will never change. Mary," and Todd looked defeated as I turned to leave. Just then, I heard Matt's voice behind me. "Mum, are you ready to go?" I turned and smiled. "Oh, I'm sorry to keep you waiting." "Matt, it's okay, let's go," he said. Walking over to me, Mary and Todd stared at him in disbelief, struggling to recognize the competent young man standing before them. "Wait, is that Matt?" Mary asked, her voice trembling as she pointed it at him. Matt stood tall in a sharp suit, healthy and strong. Nothing like the frail child Mary had abandoned. "Yes, sir, this is Matt," I said proudly. "He's 20 now, and thriving." Matt's calm, steady voice followed mine. "I remember everything. Even though I was young, I know who you two are." My biological mother and her lover Todd looked horrified as he tried to process Matt's compost. "But cutting words, but weren't you supposed to be really sick?" "I thought you only had 6 months to live," Todd stammered. "No," I interjected. "Matt was never sick. That 6-month story was something Mary made up after she left. I took Matt to the hospital where the doctors diagnosed him with malnutrition. Not any life-threatening illness. All he needed was proper food and care." Mary's face turned bright red with embarrassment. "I tried, but he was such a picky eater," she muttered weakly. Todd's expression twisted with disgust. "T eats well now." I said. "He's healthy, strong, and even played sports in high school," Matt added. "And I'm studying to become a doctor, so no other kids have to go through what I did." Mary and Todd gasped, shocked by how far Matt had come. "I had no idea," Todd mumbled. "And there's no need for Mary to insult him anymore or call him names," I said, shooting Mary a pointed look. Mary glanced away, ashamed if she had raised Matt. He never would have reached this point. She opened her mouth to speak, but Todd cut her off. "I want a divorce," he said bluntly. Mary's eyes widened in panic. "What? No, you can't be serious," she cried, clinging to his arm, but Todd's expression stayed firm after learning how you neglected Matt and lied to me. "I can't stay with you." Mary's voice grew frantic. "It's all a misunderstanding." Gemma twisted the truth, but Todd shook his head. "You treated me like an ATM, and now I see the truth." Mary tried to deny it, but Todd was done. "I'm finished," he said coldly. He turned to me, his face filled with regret. "Gemma, I can never make up for what I've done, but I'm truly sorry." He bowed his head in apology. "I felt nothing. The anger and betrayal I once harboured had long since faded, replaced by the love and joy of raising. Matt, I've moved on. Todd, Matt, and I have our own lives now," I said firmly. With that, I turned back to Matt. "Let's go." "Matt, yeah, Letton. Go," he replied as we started to walk away. Mary's voice called out, trembling. "Matt, I'm so sorry. I regret leaving you all this time," she said, tears in her eyes as she stepped closer. Matt turned to her but held up his hand to stop her. "Don't," he said, his voice steady. I remember all the times you pushed me out of the house when strange men came over. Mary's face turned pale. Matt continued, his tone unwavering. And I remember the day you abandoned me. I decided then that I'd never forgive you. He looked her straight in the eyes. You're calling her Mum? Mary asked desperately. Yes, Matt replied. Gemma raised me. She's my real mother. Mary stood frozen, realizing there was no chance of reconciliation. Don't ever try to see us again, Matt said firmly. Mary collapsed in tears as Matt and I walked away together. Later, I heard that Todd had a DNA test done and found out the daughter wasn't his. He sued Mary for damages, filed for divorce, and left her for good. Mary tried to retaliate by spreading rumours about him, but it only backfired, leaving her with nothing. I eventually blocked all her messages and cut ties completely. Matt, meanwhile, thrived. He grew into a wonderful man, got engaged to his girlfriend, and made me so proud. We continued living together, cherishing our time as mother and son on his 20th birthday. I took him out to a nice restaurant to celebrate. Let's make a toast to adulthood, I said, raising my glass. Cheers, Matt replied, clinking his glass with mine. In that moment, I felt truly happy knowing I'd made the right choices for Matt. This right here was everything I had ever wanted.